Good morning and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. For those of you who haven't checked yet, that little number down there is now above 10,000, which is wild. I can't imagine 10,000 people sitting there saying that they like my content, but that is just absolutely amazing. And for that, to celebrate that, there is going to be a special event. Check for that video to come out on Friday. I'm not going to give anything away, but it is going to be really fun. So make sure you check for that video to come out on Friday. If you don't want to miss it, go ahead and turn on those notifications. So today there is a little bit of construction going on up the street. Hopefully that doesn't detract too much from the audio, but I had to go ahead and get this tour out for you guys because things are changing so fast and I don't want you to miss anything. I think Draco and Kata might use this garden bench more than I do. Can you guys tell the difference between them yet? Comment below which one is Draco and which one is Kata. I'll give you kind of a side-by-side so you can look at them both. I'm out here again with my cute little red truck basket, and we are going to start out by looking at the tomato row. First of all, this lemongrass right here in front of the tomato row is getting so big. I don't think I could ever use all of this lemongrass, so I'm definitely going to be figuring out how to take a little bit of it and save it for over the winter because I don't think that it would survive a winter here. We've also got some ginger doing really well. I've got a few of these plants around the garden, and I think I'm gonna have so much ginger that I'm gonna try and make candied ginger this year. That's gonna be hopefully really delicious. And then we've got basil here at the front. I recently put out a video talking about how to make holy basil tea, but you can really make tea out of any basil, and I actually have quite a few different varieties here in the garden. In addition to this purple basil, which is absolutely gorgeous, I think it tastes mostly like regular basil, it's just pretty. And then we have this Emily basil, which is gonna be mostly like a sweet basil that you would buy at the grocery store. I've also got things like lemon basil and cinnamon basil, and of course the holy basil. If you take a look at this trellis, you might see this tomato kind of coming sideways and up. I've started training kind of this one here closest to this side, this direction, because the tomatillos here did not get very tall. Although you'll see this tomatillo that never fell over is actually just as tall as the tomatoes over here. That one has a cage around it kind of holding it up. And then this one, this is all fallen over. I probably should have tied it up to the trellis, but I did not. And it seems to be doing okay. Y'all who've been with me for a while know that I kind of tend towards the lazy gardening side of things, and you know, if it's fine without intervention, then I just tend to leave it. I came through yesterday and pulled a lot of tomatoes, but you can still see all of that red. I've got a lot more to pull. I've told you guys why I like this basket, right? It is kind of wide and shallow, which is perfect for tomatoes. Ideally, you don't want to stack them on top of each other because then they would sort of bruise each other, especially when you have some of the bigger types. So this shallow and wide is super perfect for that. These are all Cherokee purples that I'm pulling right now. Ooh. That one is rotted on the side. If I really wanted to, I could cut that off and use the rest of it kind of immediately. But I have so many tomatoes right now, I'm just gonna let the bugs have that one. I would give it to chickens if I had any, but I don't. I also want to point out to you guys, you see right here this purple stem coming up? This is a pole bean. It is just now starting to make beans for me, and I've been trying to train it kind of out sideways along the trellis, Every time it gets tangled up with tomatoes, if I can, I untangle it and then scoot it out sideways again. Just mostly trying to keep it under control and kind of spread out so that it'll be easier to harvest. But I only have 2 of these this year. We'll see how the productivity compares to when I had 3 plants last year. But right now it is looking like it's going to be a lot. These beans are called blue cocoa, even though they are purple. And I think they're my favorite pole bean right now. Look at that gorgeous calendula. This is a really interesting variety of calendula. I didn't realize that when I bought it, but this is very different from how most calendulas look. We're also at that time of year where the tomatoes have hit the top of the trellis and are now going sideways and up. And well, first of all, look at that. That is quite high above my head. If there's a tomato up there, I don't know if I'd be able to reach it, but I think if a tomato came on up there, it would probably cause the plant to sag. I'm running out of room to trellis these things. And so this is sort of the point in the year where I kind of go, screw it, let them do whatever they want. I'll come through and do some minor pruning, but overall I kind of stopped being so militant about the pruning and the tying. And I do try to cut off anything that looks diseased. It looks like it's about time for me to be doing that again. But for the rest of it, I just let these plants kind of try and take care of themselves. This second row here, still looking like a jungle, but I am loving these pops of pink. These pink zinnias are so vibrantly pink. They are almost red, they're so pink, and they are so pretty everywhere in the garden right now. Lettuce seeds, I've actually been noticing goldfinches coming in and eating lettuce seeds. So that's been really cool. I actually had never seen a goldfinch before the other day in the yard. They don't even come to the bird feeder as far as I know. But they'll eat the lettuce seeds and they'll eat the sunflower seeds. All the tomatillos in this area are kind of falling over except for this one that I managed to get in the cage. And I've been pulling tomatillos off of these. I think I have like 6 plants or so. Haven't made anything with them yet. They're just sitting in the fridge. But let's see. Eggplants right here are going really well. I actually have started protecting blossoms because I do want to save seeds from the eggplants this year. And I gotta stop that cross-pollination if I want them to grow true to type. Oh look, this is Chinese string eggplant. This one's probably about ready to pull, but I don't have my clippers with me. Chinese string eggplant has been first to produce, and second to produce has been this one, which I cannot quite remember what it's called. But I selected a lot of new varieties this year because I like to roast eggplant, and I wanted ones that would be like a lot of flesh. The Chinese string eggplant is different because I just really wanted to try one that was as tender as that one said it was, and I actually tried some raw the other day. It tasted a little bit like green beans, not like super flavorful, very mild. Not sure I'm a fan of that though, so I think I will probably still be cooking these. The sweet peppers in this area are doing pretty darn good. I've got a couple of peppers coming on them, and these look great. I'm really excited to get some actually ripe sweet peppers this year. I think they're a little late, but it looks like there's a ton more fruit kind of forming on there. I can see a few set flowers and a little baby there in the back. So we will have sweet peppers very soon. Past all of that is this first section of corn, which is probably grown like 5 or 6 inches since you last saw it. It is going so fast. It gives me more hope that I did not plant too late in the season. I knew I was taking a little bit of a risk, but look at that. It's doing so good. I bet it has to do with how long the days are right now. Even though days are currently getting shorter here in the northern hemisphere, days are still pretty darn long. I think sunset's still around like 8:30 or so. So these are getting plenty of sunlight. And past the corn, I have yet to decide which of these I am saving, it's probably going to be this one now that I look at it. I think these have probably put on like 2 or 3 more leaves since y'all saw them too. Wild, they're going so fast. So we've got, I don't know what squash this is, but we'll find out. Definitely looks a little vining to me. Let's see. There was supposed to be more squashes coming up here, but I have not seen anything sprout, unfortunately. Marigold back here is just taking up all of this space instead. It is having a really good time. I think this is like 2 or 3 plants coming up from the same spot. And back when I put these in, I really thought that I was not going to have marigolds because you remember they got eaten down to sticks, most of them. And now look at that. Oh, look at those blooms. These are so pretty. Alright, coming back to the front, we are at the 3rd row now. And the first thing I want to show you is this teeny tiny Cosmo right here. My friend Krista and I were cleaning up all of the dead and dying plants from my steps, and she decided to give this one a chance, and now it is blooming. Isn't that gorgeous? Behind it is my variegated nasturtium, which is one of my favorite flowers in this whole garden. The leaves are absolutely beautiful, the flowers are beautiful, and the whole plant is edible, which I just think is so cool. I love having edible flowers around. And then if we look up at the trellis, things are all the way up at the top, and I have actually started turning vines around to come back down where there's room so that they don't grow straight up and tangle around each other like they have in the past, making all of the beans that they produce up there completely out of reach. I don't have any beans on these yet, but if we come around here to the outside, I can show you I do have flowers. So hopefully by next week I'll have baby beans to show you guys on these noodle beans. Oh, I lied. There are baby beans. These must have just fallen off. Look at those. Kind of looks like, I don't know, like some exotic fruit or something right now. That little tiny thing, that is my noodle bean. You can see the flower heads that fell off right here. I also have my first cucumber right here. Look at that. I am waiting to pick it because I am actually not sure how big it's gonna get. So I've just been watching it. It's still growing, still getting bigger. So I will pick it once it seems like it has kind of stopped growing. Here on the other side of the trellis, things are finally taking off. This one bean right here has started doing its vining portion, and once these things start vining, they tend to go really fast. You can see the end of the vine all the way out here. And then these two on the edges are still kind of in their little bush stage, but I'm thinking very soon they will start going up. And then after that, it'll be like a foot or 2 a week up this trellis, and it'll be full and lush before I know it. I was really worried I wasn't gonna have like a full lush arched trellis this year because both of these trellises have been really slow getting started. But I'm starting to get really excited now that there's leaves above my head. As I said, the second trellis is taking a while, but I think we are going to have some stuff growing on it soon. This is blue butterfly pea, and you can see it has finally started doing its little vining up. I'm hoping that that means it'll start growing a little faster. I've also got 1, 2 cucumber plants here, and those will start taking off up the trellis soon as well. There's a few more blue butterfly peas on this side, and oh, I should come around and show you guys this little baby pumpkin that I was given. Has not died yet, but it is taking a little while to recover. Leaves are tiny. Oh, it's starting to try and make its own little flowers. No, don't think that you should put your energy into that right now, bud. Let's try making some more leaves first. Back here on the hot peppers, I've also started bagging flowers, hoping to save some seeds from these. I'm still not 100% sure what all of these are because they're all just in the beginning stages of putting on fruit. I do know that my Buena Mulata is over here making the Clemson peppers. I don't have any that have ripened yet, but I'll show you guys side by side how beautiful those colors look together. A couple of these haven't started putting on flowers yet, I was actually really surprised to see that my fish pepper has not started putting on flowers yet, and is still kind of only sort of variegated. But I mean, it looks like a healthy plant. I assume it will start putting on flowers whenever it's ready. Further back here, we've got, definitely I can say I have a cayenne back here. That's what this little one is. These are cayenne shaped. And then when I figure out what the rest of them are, I will let you guys know. Oh, and we gotta check in on our little buddy, the neglected, came back from the dead buddy. It is starting to make flowers, and I am going to let it. It looks plenty healthy enough to start making whatever pepper it is. I don't actually know what you are, so we'll be surprised. This area where the dead poppies are, I have cut the seed heads off of most of them and saved the seeds. You can see I left a couple of the smaller ones. I have, like, for sure accidentally spread a ton of seeds in this area, so maybe they will reseed themselves, and that would be really cool. But I haven't put anything else in this area besides this one sweet potato that's been really struggling to take off and start vining. Oh, those are new leaves though. Look at that, that's a new leaf. It's still living, it's still fine. Its friends over here are doing way better. I've been having to train the vines to go sideways because they all want to come out at me, and honestly I don't blame them because all the good compost is this way. But those are doing fine back there, and all of these sweet peppers here in the front are doing pretty well. I have a couple of fruits on these, but I am trying to bag flowers earlier in the season than I used to, so I'm bagging a lot of flowers before I've even gotten ripe fruits off of anything, just so that I can get them during the peak. That one looks like that's been chewed on a little bit. Oh, we've got a cat. Hello. Yeah, this one's been chewed on a little bit, but I think it'll still be fine. I don't think that hole goes all the way through. The corn over here in this section is definitely growing a lot slower, and I would suggest that that's probably due to the shade of this big tree over here. This area doesn't get nearly as much sun as the middle of the garden. Corn is still growing for sure, but it honestly still looks like grass to me. So I've been trying really hard not to pull weeds in this area because I will forget and accidentally start pulling up this corn. Behind it though, I have this gorgeous kale that never went to seed, and I really wish it would because I would like to save seeds from it. But it's just looking good back here. Before we head on over to the berry patch, I wanted to show you guys these strawberry transplants. I have so many little strawberry vines coming out, and they are trying to take over the sidewalk where they cannot survive. So I thought it would be really nice to try and transplant a bunch of them and make little cuttings, basically propagating the strawberry. Hello, cat. And try and give them away. Any friends who want strawberries, any neighbors who want strawberries, I can probably make a near infinite amount of these things. So if this little test turns out, maybe I'll make some more. Oh, and I almost forgot. I don't think I showed you guys this last time, but I have yet another volunteer squash over here. It is directly across from where the other volunteer squash started, and I've already had to pull squash bug eggs and nymphs off of it, so I don't know if it's very long for this world, but you know, it's here and it's allowed to try. If we take a look at the older volunteer whatever it is, it's got very few leaves left. It's not doing so great. This pumpkin or whatever it is probably not going to fully mature. You can see the skin is still soft. It leaves marks when I put my fingernail in it. So if that does fall off the vine, I'll probably just bring it in and try and cook it immediately. Everything else over here is doing pretty well though. Fig tree still putting on new baby leaves. Lavender looking about the same. I'm not sure why all of this died off, but some of it is still alive. And the rest of these herbs look approximately the same as they always do. I definitely have not come through here and actually cut any for drying, which is on my list of things that I definitely should do while they're in peak season. This other raised bed also still looking about the same. One of the things I'm planning for you guys is actually a comparison between these two raised beds, because believe it or not, they're actually from two different companies. So you can expect to see that sometime soon. Chamomile looks kind of sad at the moment because I just pulled all the good flowers off for drying, but you can see it's got plenty more that are just about to bloom. If you keep up with pulling the flowers off of your chamomile, you will get even more flowers, because like all plants, they are like, please let me make seeds, and if you don't let them make seeds, they will just keep trying harder until they die. Which, when you say it like that, it sounds kind of cruel, but that's what you're doing basically, is you're not letting the plant fulfill its life cycle, and because that is its only goal in life, it will keep trying. Look at this weeding that I have not gotten around to yet. The blueberry plants in there are thankfully still alive, but if I don't rescue them soon, I don't know how happy they're going to be. Look at that. Oh, they're trying. Strawberries, like I said, I just cut a bunch of the runners from over here. Basically what strawberries will do is they put out these runners. They're basically propagating themselves, and you can cut these off and plant them and have new baby strawberry plants anywhere you want. This is how I started this entire strawberry patch, from one plant. It was sitting right here in the corner. And you can go back and watch my old garden tours and see it. But this one plant that I got made all of this. And it's been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years at this point. I'd have to look back to remember. So in exchange for saving the money on the plant, it did take some time. But now I have like basically unlimited strawberry plants. Blackberries and raspberries are still doing really good though. I actually need to come through and pick some raspberries because they are once again loaded down with gorgeous ripe fruit. I'm really hoping that this will keep producing into fall, but we'll just have to see. You can definitely see some of the spent branches are starting to die off, and I think that's pretty normal with raspberries from what I've seen so far at least. Once a branch is done fruiting, it does tend to die back. This time of day, this entire area is just buzzing with different flying insects, the beetles and the bees and the wasps everywhere. I can't honestly get too close without some of them running into me. So I usually come out in like the mornings or the evenings when everything has kind of died down. But I'm really happy to see so much life around here. I'm not upset at all. It's really just representative of an ecosystem that I've built here. And the pests are pesting, and the predators are eating those pests, and everybody is happy. And it keeps me from having to spray anything on any of my gardens. Alrighty guys, that is the end of the tour. It is getting hot out here, but just another reminder to turn on your notifications if you don't want to miss that video coming out on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy gardening.